It was Albert Einstein, one of the greatest physicists of all time, who said that it takes an intelligent person to evolve into change. That is, in spite of the discomfort that change often brings, to gracefully allow change to take its course in your life. That is where we are at this time. That's how we began our conversation yesterday, talking about the ease of voting, where we had guest Abiodun Borishade, social media expert, as well as Ezinwa Wago, who spoke extensively, encouraging Nigerians to come out en masse, which is the summation, every discourse we've been having here the past few weeks. Discourage voter apathy. Discourage vote buying and selling. Be a patriot. It pleased us immensely when Ezinwa said a word he had been hearing frequently on our program was patriotic zeal. And that is what we're counting on for every Nigerian who is registered, who has that potent PVC, to use it wisely as we lead you on this path to ease the voting process. Welcome to Weekend Deal. We enjoyed your comments yesterday. It was great to interact with you. Please, let's do it again together today. My name is Thelma Obaze. Today is not far from where we began yesterday, where we talked about the ease of voting with particular mention of vote and go or vote and stay. We also had Doshima looking at the challenges that have been noticed in past elections and what INEC ought to do now to ensure that they block any loophole. Today, Francis sets us on another path with his background feature and is looking at issues like how to avoid invalid votes in the forthcoming election, as well as INEC, logistics, and the 2023 elections. Francis, what did you find?
As Nigerians prepare for the forthcoming general elections, expectations are high concerning the authenticity and dependability of the bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS. Also, it is important to remind Nigerians that on the election day, there will be restriction of movement. However, some Nigerians are asking, why can't Nigerians have the ability to go about their lawful businesses and still vote?
I've been to Germany. I've seen some people voting and sending their vote through the mailbox, and nobody tampers with it because there's a system to checkmate everyone, you know. So part of the challenges that we are having is that some people are running away from technology. Once you continue to have this human interface, definitely there are tendencies to manipulate and also do all sorts of things that are prohibited by the electoral law itself.
With the permanent voter cards collection exercise ended after a series of extension, not all Nigerians were able to collect their permanent voter cards. But the question begging for answer is, why is it not possible for Nigerians to register every day and any time, just like they do for birth and death?
We need to learn from other countries on how they carry out voter registration exercise, because we did not need to be waiting until when it is few months to election or maybe 1 year to election, then you want to register everybody. I don't think it is the best approach, and we can change it to adopt better ways. And I think this is why technology is important, is good into electoral process.
why we always go through stress, I would say number one, we tend to do a lot of things manually. We don't allow technology to take place of some manual processes. Manual processes often cause stress. Secondly, we're not proactive enough to plan for what we want to do next year today and be ready for it in 6 months before the day. We plan towards right to the when that event or that particular program is actually being done, and there will be learning and will be whatever is happening at that time. It can never really go well.
With just few days to the elections, workers on essential services won't be able to vote even though they might have registered. Is there hope that one day essential workers will be able to vote even while on duty? While the use of the social media in the electioneering process cannot be ignored, social media users should be reminded that there are no polling units on social media and that the Independent National Electoral Commission is the only body authorized to announce election results.
If I decide to post something now, it can get forwarded and forwarded and forwarded. But they ought to have been, this technological age we are, this 21st century for crying out loud. It shouldn't be difficult for any author of a news from social media that is being proved to be wrong to be easily traced back to the originator. Every system has their IP address. Every communication system that used to send this and receive and whatever, they all communicate. There's protocols. And I think we're more advanced than we should have had examples of people that their phone probably just shut down because something things like that. Recently there was something I saw, I was even scared myself. Why would they block National Assembly? What is happening? And somebody told me, no, that was 2018. Somebody just put it there and put some wrong comment just to mislead people. So I think the responsibility has to really go to the very individual. If I have the bad intent, mad motive and send whatever negative news, right, you receive it. But you shouldn't really act on it or forward it or do anything about it, because the moment you forward it or act on it, you have already taken responsibility that you believe, which means you are also in the same opinion or mindset with that individual. So as well as you are equally guilty.
The forthcoming elections should not be seen as a do-or-die affair. Everyone has a role to play because voter apathy comes with its own consequences.
It is very disheartening to see that because of fear of violence, many Nigerians are not likely going to come in mass as projected in October, November, and even December last year. This threat of violence is actually going to discourage a lot of people from coming to vote.
I've been able to get my voter's card. I'm ready to vote, right? I've reviewed, I know who I've been voting for and stuff, but the only fear I have right now is that what's going to happen if I step out to go to a place and vote, and I might end up not voting. So I would say the number one thing that causes apathy is safety, really.
The success of the 2023 elections depend on all and sundry. Therefore, Weekend Deal today is captioned "The Ease of Voting in Nigeria."
All hands on deck, all patriotic Nigerians working alongside INEC, working assiduously to ensure that as we come out en masse, starting Saturday to cast our votes for presidential candidates as well as National Assembly candidates and the elections in its entirety, that we have ease in the voting process. We go to Kano. They've been doing their research, focused on logistics and, of course, this forthcoming elections.
Visits to Independent National Electoral Commission INEC Kano office will reveal how busy the officers are. While the 2023 general election is fast approaching, voting logistics, especially non-sensitive one, have already been distributed to the 44 local government of Kano states.
I would like to tell you that INEC is very much prepared, because all the necessary items which we refer to as sensitive and non-sensitive materials were already on ground. The only things that are available are very minimal, which God willing. Even as at yesterday, I saw things coming from Abuja, and they are very, very vital things. And more or less, the very, very important machine that we are going to use in 2023 election, which is going to have a great difference in the election or electoral process. The BVAS machine in Kano State, we have this. We have received this machine for more than a month. So I want to assure you that in Kano State precisely, we are very, very much ready to do this election.
With appreciable number of voters already collected their PVCs, the turnout is expected to be excellent.
I would like to tell people that in Kano State, virtually people have collected over 80% of voters' card in Kano State, where during the 2021-22 CBR exercise, we received a total of 444,626 permanent voters' card, which are new registration. This update is at 27 January 2023. And out of this 444,000, 361,131 has been collected.
The use of bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS, will not present difficulty because on the 4th of February, a mock exercise was carried out using the machine.
And I want to assure you that we had a very successful exercise during the mock accreditation. If there are issues during the exercise, definitely we are going to take reports and we are going to send to headquarters Abuja, and definitely we are going to take these issues and we are going to settle the issues before the general elections.
INEC with other relevant stakeholders such as transport unions and security agencies conducting meetings to work out ways of ensuring hitch-free dispatch of the sensitive materials and personnel to their respective polling units across Kano State.
Actually, security agencies are major partners, major stakeholders in electoral process, not only in Kano State, but in the whole nation. Where in state, we have the Commissioner of Police as the chairman of that election security committee, and the resident electoral commissioner is the co-chairman. And I want to assure you, we have been greatly relating and will continue to relate until the day of election or even thereafter.
That package from Kano reiterates how we stand with regard to logistics and the forthcoming 2023 elections. Now, let's have this chat with Dr. Sirajo Yakubu. He's the head of Department of Public and International Law at Now University in Abuja. It's great to have you, and I've heard a lot about you. It's great to meet you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for having me this morning.
Great to be on our show. We're talking about the steps that INEC has taken, and they've often said that every step they've taken is with the view to make this forthcoming elections, that of 2023, the best that Nigeria has ever seen. How far have they come with that, would you say?
Well, I think from what we have seen so far, what is open to us, I would say INEC, I think they have done a lot to ensure that this election that we are about to, witness, will be the best in terms of credibility and in terms of getting things done timely.
Many people have spoken about logistics. When we had the chat with Mr. Okoye from INEC, he said that the materials for the elections have been kept securely in a very unknown place where no one can see, no one can touch, and that on the day of the elections, as early in the AM, 2-3 AM, security will escort them so that they'll be prompt. But the mock accreditation showed that in many parts of Nigeria, the materials were not on time, and many are using that to judge what will happen in 7 days' time. We know that logistics plays a very key role in any successful elections. Where do you think INEC stands with regards to logistics?
Logistics, this for this election is crucial, because if materials are delivered on time to the polling units, I'm not talking about the state, right to the polling units, then democracy will be undermined, and then the will of the people will be subverted, and then if election cannot be conducted, then we can even end up with a constitutional crisis, because at a certain point in time, those elected, their I would say covenant with the people would have expired. So I want to believe that by now, or by tomorrow, Monday tomorrow, they should deliver them to the state. There are reasons for that. Number one, if you notice, the weather now is no good, and if they are to distribute it from Lagos or from Abuja, definitely some locations they will use to have air transportation. On Thursday, their flights were cancelled, especially those originating or going to the northern parts of the country, because of the dusty weather. Yes, and usually end of February and the entire month of March, we always experience stormy weather. Yes, so I think they have to factor the weather into yes, into their planning, so that there will be no excuses that because of the weather they are already aware. So let them work with the meteorological agency to tell them, to give them the forecast for the next 7 days. Yes, INEC should be proactive, so that even these sensitive materials should be in the state at least by tomorrow, Monday. So if they are able to do that, that will be fine.
Voter apathy is one offshoot of vote buying or vote selling. People believe that my vote may not count because those people who they need their votes, they have told them and they have purchased it and they have an agreement. So why should some people even feel, why should I cast mine for free? I haven't collected anything for it. Even though we're talking about patriotism, we're speaking on this divide. On the other side, they believe if at all I should step out, inconvenience myself at all with this PVC, oughtn't I to get something for it? So let's talk to the sellers and in the past, those who thought it was wise to buy.
Well, I think for those who feel that because their votes has not been voted, so they will not so they will not go and cast their vote. I think whosoever is selling his vote, his vote, then he is selling his freedom. If those, I still encourage people not sell their votes, and two, even if they see other people's votes are being bought, let them not sell their own and let them go and cast. I don't believe that the percentage of those who are selling their vote is more than the percentage of those.
Talk to the buyers. Yes,
of those who are selling. Who are not selling it. So the proportion. We have not reached a stage that everybody is selling his vote in Nigeria. So those who have not sold their votes, let them go and cast it. Let them cast it. Let them decide on who to lead them. For those selling their votes, they are selling away their rights. They will have, yes, well, the buyers, they undermine democracy. It should be a crime, and it is a crime by law. I think under this electoral act, it is a crime to buy votes, and they are undermining. People don't realize one thing. It's not me alone. If I buy people's vote today, I prevent them from either voting, or I prevent them from voting the candidate of their wish. I'm undermining democracy. I'm undermining the country. And even God, if we really believe in God, as we always say in Nigeria, because you see people trooping to mosque and trooping to church, But it's not prayer in those holy places that defines people. No. It is your integrity. Yes, even before God, because you can decide not to pray, God may decide to forgive you. But if you cheat one person, God will never forgive you. So people, let the bias know that vote bind, they are undermining people, and God will never forgive them.
Can I ask you one question just before we're at the tail end of our chat? Are you of the opinion, honestly, Dr. Siraju, that these people who go to buy votes do not know that there are dire consequences?
Some they don't know.
Not well thought out and planned.
The masterminds, I would say, sitting somewhere, who are not buying the votes themselves, they know, and that's why they detach themselves from it, so that you cannot even link them. It's like crisis during election. Those who foment it, they do it remotely. So those who mastermind this malpractice, they know.
Far away.
Yeah, they know. But
does it
majority,
consequences?
Yeah, they know the consequences. But majority of the field soldiers, they don't even know that a law like that exists. Even though ignorance of the law is not an excuse, but they don't know. And in the end, what they bank on is that any offense which is which has a political undertone can be always forgiven. So even if they're taken to court, mostly you will see, yes, by our practice here. In Nigeria, it is by our practice, not in the law, but by our practice. Those in power will always put political consideration ahead of any other thing. So you will see that people who commit crime, because they have political value, they set them free. Even if court convicts them, they use the power to pardon them.
Your final word, because you are a Nigerian, you have been here, you've seen past elections, you've heard what INEC has promised, you are seeing the Nigerians, you are feeling the pulse of the nation, you also witnessed the mock accreditation, and I know you have your potent PVC, and you are telling people to go out there and cast their votes wisely. Putting all this together, give us your summation.
I am encouraging people to come out en masse and vote, and vote the candidate of their choice. I think next Saturday will be what do you call it? It will be
February 25th.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So it will be presidential election, senatorial election, and House of Representatives election. So let them come out en masse. Let us give this election credibility that it deserves. Let this election be the defining moment here in Nigeria. Let us show the politicians that yes, we can decide what the future of Nigeria will be. Because if they come out en masse, it will be like a military exercise when they want to do a show of force. So they will do a show of force that yes, we are ready. We are ready today, and we are ready in the next 4 years to come come out and vote, because Nigerians are getting wiser by the day. We are getting more educated by the way. We are getting conscious by the day
of the power of our PVC.
Yes.
Thank you. Let us rest it there. We have been talking with Dr. Siraju Yakubu. He is a lecturer facilitating knowledge and the HOD of Public and International Law, now University Abuja. We have been talking about INEC, logistics, and the 2023 election. It's been a pleasure learning from you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to the studio.
Okay, you're watching Weekend Deal. It's the ease of voting that's been our focus. A break beckons. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Weekend Deal. You're watching Weekend Deal. Our program is interactive. I know you know that. Please keep your messages coming in. After you get your PVC, after you come out of your home on that day, go to the polling unit, get ready to vote, get your accreditation done, and you want to cast your vote. You must be very conscious of how you do that. And it's on that trail that Susan began her journey this past week. She's talking about what can make your votes invalid. Susan, take it from here.
The history of election in the country has been confronted with many challenges that have marred the outcome of elections. And one of such impediment is the issue of invalid votes.
A vote can be said to be invalid when the intention or choice of a voter is not clear enough for everyone to see. If you go to the polling unit on election day and you are given a ballot paper, you know as well that there are multiple parties contesting that election. You have choices of political parties to make, and then you are expected to use your thumbprint to indicate your choice on the ballot paper.
As the 2023 general polls draw closer, the need for proper enlightenment is key. Here are some of the important things you need to know about valid and invalid votes.
When you say something is invalid, that itself spells the consequence of that action or inaction. It is invalid because once we are not able to decipher or determine where your choice lies in an election, that vote will not be counted. You approach the election officials, you present your permanent voter's card. You know, we say no PVC, no voting. You have to come physically to the polling unit with your PVC. When your data is called up on the device, you will be required to use any one of your thumbprint, this particular one, okay, to authenticate your identity or your facial features. When you are given a ballot paper, you already have in mind the particular party or candidate you intend to vote for. So the only way of expressing that interest is to use your ink pad. There's always an ink pad at the voting cubicle.
Seeing the say is believing.
This is a sample of a ballot paper. As you can see, there are different logos here representing different political parties. Okay, yes, that are not in the contesting election. So this is just a sample. All right. So when you get to the polling unit and you have been given a ballot paper on election day, you impress your thumb on the ink pad that has been given to you. Okay, you impress your thumb on the ink pad, and then you identify among the list of the parties on the ballot paper. Okay, when you have identified, is it party A, party B, party C? Once you do the identification, then you come and position your thumb in the middle. You can see that my thumb is not crossing the lines at the right or at the left. Okay, and after you raise your hand, you can see that my thumb is in the middle of the paper. My choice is very clear. It is not indicating or suggesting that I voted for another party apart from the particular political party where I thumbprinted from. If your thumbprint crosses the line into this party logo, it is still valid. It is considered as valid. But as much as possible, we encourage all voters to only put their thumbprint on this space provided in front of the party logo.
Therefore, we do hope we have been able to enlighten you. So, let your vote count, and together we shall have a free, fair and credible election.
It's important that your vote counts. Is there any point in getting your PVC, that potent card, leaving your home early in the day, taking your family with you, your friends, telling your colleagues to come out en masse and be patriotic, getting your accreditation done, and then your vote doesn't count? No way. That's why Susan went that 9 miles to give you more enlightenment and more education. We thank you for your messages. Let me take this one. Austin reaches us from Lagos. Austin says police commission, military and ministries should provide most of the ideal vehicles to complement the logistics process. And so while political party observers should not be more than one, and law enforcement and voters must be at the polling unit with mutual respect and understanding for the process to be successful. Akinola Ololade is a regular contributor here. We thank you. He reaches us from Ilori in Kwara State. It says, with the introduction of technology, voting, the ease of voting will be further enhanced. But at the same time, it requires the cooperation of all and sundry. Our line is there, you know how we do it. You send us messages on WhatsApp or SMS. Tell us about your experiences, what you know. Ask us questions, and we'll do our best to prefer answers where required. Well, Magdalene was quite busy during the week as well, and she was looking at essential workers. Over time, if you are working on any election day, automatically you're disenfranchised. You cannot take part in the voting process. She's asking about the whys and the wherefores and the way forward. As the 2023 presidential election draws near, some of the essential workers within the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, have expressed their feelings about their inability to always exercise their franchise during elections.
I couldn't cast my votes because of my work. I'm a journalist, a reporter, so I was up and trying to report for my station, so I didn't have the time to go and cast my vote.
No, I didn't go to cast my vote because I was busy covering the elections. We as the journalists, we are meant to project the image and interpret the result and the activities of voting.
This morning somebody just told me that I have a voter's card, but I have never voted. Because on the day of election, my own responsibility of going out for the media purpose and all of that. Now, it's a very serious issue, and I think we should bring it to the INEC, to the Independent National Electoral Commission. We must find a solution for those essential workers to be able to vote on election day. If you put those numbers together, it's much. And besides putting the numbers together, you are disenfranchising them from their own civic responsibility.
As most people rely on the media for accurate information, so it is the case with caregivers and other health workers, and they are usually on ground in case of emergencies. And it has also been observed that the law enforcement and other security agencies are always at strategic places during elections. Consequently, they are often unable to exercise their franchise.
I tell you, those people who are not casting their vote, who are disenfranchised, these essential workers must be brought to the national discourse. And I urge the National Assembly and I urge the Independent National Electoral Commission to look into this situation.
It is expected that every individual must perform his or her civic obligations according to the rule of law. In line with this, experts call on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to consider other alternatives of voting for essential workers before or during the elections in all the 36 states of the Federation.
Recently, we had a stakeholders meeting with the Independent National Electoral Commission, and we brought up the issue of online voting. Because you see, look at the insecurity right now, where people are even scared of going out to vote. People like our cameraman, people like the policeman and all of that can take advantage of this online voting or even mail by box, because you can do it some days even before the day of election. If he has to be on duty on that day, he has already voted. You can take your paper and do your voting, cast your vote at home, mail it, or you take it to the mailbox, or the mail people come and collect it, and it's still part of the voting system.
While essential workers are expected to meet the operational requirements, at such a time like the general elections, they should also be treated with dignity, as their jobs are always on the line. Nevertheless, Nigerians are hopeful that one day essential workers will be able to cast their votes even while on essential duties, as every vote does count. Every vote must count, and it's our responsibility to make sure it counts. You need to go that extra mile. INEC will do its part. We at the NTA are working assiduously providing enlightenment, information, education, bringing to the fore, to the studio, people who know what it takes, what you need to hear, what you need to know, the information necessary to further enlighten you. Now the electorate, you go out there and you do your part. There's still time, 7 days. But in the meantime, let's have this chat today with Prince Mustapha Mona Audu. He's an APC stalwart, as well as the spokesperson for the Presidential Campaign Council, North Central.
Absolutely. Good morning.
Good morning. Great to have you.
Likewise.
It's not party gist, though. We're discussing the electorate and how they will come out en masse. So don't come campaign.
No,
you
no,
don't need
no.
to know the manifesto.
No, no,
right,
no.
Fine. Interesting.
We're here to encourage Nigerians to do their part. It's high time that a lot of us took part in the decision-making process, and your voter's card is what gives you the access, the VIP access to make that decision. So I hope all Nigerians get up and make it a show of force, a show to say this is our country. We believe in the electoral process. We'll support INEC and the other agencies to do their part. And we hope that especially young people are not fooled into carrying out election violence, into collecting money to give away 4 years of their life.
That, really.
We're 100%
Totally
against that. We're 100%. We
Good
want
to know.
this to be not about party, but about the quality of the candidates Nigerians are presenting, the political parties are presenting to Nigerians. And we as the APC believe that we have the best candidates.
What did I tell you about campaigns?
I'm not
no
campaigning.
Way. We're not going back. Let's talk about voter apathy with young people. Yesterday, today we had the opportunity to talk with Dr. Sirajo. He's a lecturer at Now University. And he was saying that when he meets with young people, even some middle-aged people, some who have voted before, some who never have, they've got their PVC, but they are saying, I just got it in case it is needed sometime in the future for something, and this is a prerequisite. You know, there's this, even among educated and enlightened people, there's voter apathy. They believe that their votes will not count, in spite of the talk about the beavers. Have you met with such people? If you have, what do you tell them?
The truth about it is that, you know, exercising your franchise is critical. A lot of young people especially sit and they've decided over the years not to be part of the process. Meanwhile, the people in the hinterlands, the villagers, they take this extremely seriously. That's why
they
you see,
right?
Absolutely, absolutely. They take it extremely seriously. So it's just like you said, the so-called enlightened or educated ones that don't want to be part of the process. But guess what? When it's time for Big Brother Titan, you see them voting 20, 30, 40 times. So it shows that, you know, we have made a conscious decision not to be part of the process for whatever reason. But to be honest, INEC has tried with the introduction of technology, beavers, with the introduction of this new monetary policy, which of course is biting hard on Nigerians, and we feel that, you know, its implementation may not be exactly perfect, you know, but the whole idea is that if the electorate have been complaining that, you know, there's money, votes, buying votes. So yes, so this is an attempt by Mr. President, even though not particularly implemented perfectly, but an attempt to try and, you know, build confidence. Build
in
confidence
the people.
And the process.
So we just need to, your thought is that let's inconvenience ourselves a little so that at the end of the day, all of us will enjoy the benefits. But yesterday I was talking with Ezinwa Wago. He was also here. He's a board member of Yaga. You know that they're not too young to run bill. Yeah, and he was like, we pet the politicians. Now we talk about the youths, talk about the women, talk about INEC, the polling youths, security, polling units and all that. No one is talking to the people who want it done their way. When we consider you a politician, is it true that in spite of all the modern technology, progressive thoughts, you know, and actions, there are some politicians who believe that I must win, that elections are do or die? What do you find?
In every competition, be it football, tennis, you know, sport, anything, you know, you find people who would do anything for victory. That is not unnatural. What the real problem is us as young people. We barely partake in the electoral process. We come to this stage to try to vote for who we want to vote for. But at the end of the day, at this stage, it's too late. Where young people should be most involved in is the party or the politics of political parties. We don't partake in conventions, we don't partake in decision making. So I usually say, at this stage, it's like going to a supermarket. It's whatever is on the shelf that you can buy.
That you purchase.
Yes, so they don't take part in the process of stocking the shelf in the supermarket. So that's
in other words, they cannot get what they ordered for because they did not put in practice working the process.
Exactly,
okay.
exactly.
You know, Magdalene just told us about essential workers. You do know that from time immemorial, if you're working on election day, you can't vote.
Yes.
And we're missing out. Nigeria is missing out.
I don't think so, because if you look at the population versus those, you know, that have been saddled with the responsibility of carrying it out, you know, it's just a minuscule number. It's a fraction. And what you have to look at is that in order to maintain that level of neutrality, you cannot have the people officiating, partaking in the process, because if I was partaking in the process and monitoring people, I'd be one way or the other inclined to make things work towards my own, you know, personal leaning. So that's why I think it's important to keep INEC neutral. INEC is
not INEC. I'm referring to like health workers, media workers, security officials who'll be out there on the road. Like the way it's done in other climes nowadays, you can vote.
Mail-in voting.
Yes, you can vote either before that day, and there are other ways besides coming out in the physical.
Yes. It takes everybody to be involved in the nation-building processes by our actions or inactions. So we should all make sure we come out to vote. This is a message to all the politicians as well. It's time to say that if you perform, you will be voted in. If you don't perform, and if you don't have the capacity, you will not be voted in. And once politicians get this message, I think they would focus more, because parties want to win. So it's good to present candidates that have the capacity to win, that have the capacity to appeal to Nigerians, that Nigerians can believe in. So if we show that this electoral process is critical to the survival of politicians, political parties would quickly and immediately adapt by producing candidates that have the capacity to deliver
that
on
are
the
worth
promises.
our time and worth our PVCs.
Absolutely.
And let's do it with honesty and patriotism.
Absolutely.
Negating and discouraging vote buying or selling at all levels. Let me take one or two messages. INEC, this is Ayodele Ibo from Delta State. It says, INEC should distribute their various materials on time. Latest, before 8 a.m., all materials should get to their various wards and units to reduce tension.
I think INEC is having some little challenges right now, especially with the cash crunch. So they've requested for CBN to give them funds, because if you look at it, there are 774 local governments, 171,000 polling units. It's not like you and I that need to get to one polling unit. INEC needs to be at over 170,000 polling units, and that requires cash for logistics. So I hope the central bank has calculated this in its approach towards this system. And to be honest, no Nigerian wants postponement. No Nigerian wants this to be moved. We want this to be done on Saturday, February 25th, and we want it over with and done with, so that we move on as a nation. And let's heal, because during political season, there's a lot of division, there's a lot of argument, insults, families, you know, challenge each other and things like that. So I think we've had too much of that, and we would like for this process to come to an end. So we encourage the CBN, first of all, to make the funds available for INEC to do its job. We encourage the security agencies, all of them, the DSS, the military, the police, the civil defense, all of them to be patriotic, to honor the uniform and the badge that they wear, and do the right thing. And any young person misbehaving, I encourage the security officials to arrest them, detain them, and prosecute them. The time for misbehaving, the time for being unpatriotic is long gone. Let's focus on building a nation.
Interesting. They must be responsive and responsible. Great one coming from you, Prince Aldo. Let me take this message. Umar Al-Hassan from the Federal Capital Territory. Umar says, I urge Nigerians to come out en masse to vote this week. This week, Sunday, Saturday, this week. And there should be enough security in every polling unit. Time is also very important. Referring to promptness, the election should commence on time.
Agreed.
For a long time, or for some time, there was an extension. It got to a point it was now called continuous voter registration.
Yes.
But some Nigerians are asking, why must the registration process even be stopped? Continuous means let it be there. Just keep coming in. But Lagos did some research on this. Let us see what they found.
Credible register of voters is the structure on which transparent and acceptable elections are anchored. Section 9, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act 2022 states that the Commission shall maintain and update on a continuous basis a national register of voters, which shall include the names of persons entitled to vote in any federal, state, or local government or area council election. Restricted by human and financial resources, INEC has partially fulfilled this mandate until 2017. Under the watch of Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, the Commission began a continuous voters registration, CVR. Upon its introduction, the CVR exercise provided an opportunity for millions of Nigerians to be registered in order to vote. Ahead of the 2023 general elections, the CVR witnessed huge crowd turnout at different designated centers, thereby calling for extension, in which INEC supported by extending the exercise despite the 2022 Electoral Law Section 9, subsection 5, which states that the registration of voters, updating and revision of registers of voters under the section shall stop not later than 30 days before any election covered by this act.
In Lagos State, we have done about 87.4% collection of PVCs. So we are not doing badly. Even though we have a lot to do, about 90-something. But if people are not coming, we are begging them. Even today, I'm ready to even extend this thing to 6 o'clock, if necessary 7 o'clock, if people are turning up to come and collect it.
The search at the CVR centers and online portal of INEC during the extended deadline exposed the undisciplined attitude of some Nigerians in attending to serious matters at the 11th hour, which should not be encouraged.
The citizens' awareness has improved across board, because, it's when you go to the streets, especially when it has to do with this PVC and so many other things, Nigerians are battle ready, to take a decision this time around.
Clamoring for a continuous voters registration, according to observers, might be unrealistic with the prevailing situation given to human, financial and logistic resources involved.
First, we'll clean up all the new registrants, add them to the existing register of voters. For the 2019 general election, we had 84 million voters. So the new registrants under the last CVR will be added to the register. And Section 19, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act is clear. INEC is required to display the register nationwide for scrutiny, claims and objections by citizens.
A definite registration timeline will enable INEC focus on other aspects of the electoral process. However, it is equally important for PVCs to be distributed timely in order to facilitate a well-organized general elections in the future.
Well-organized, successful outcomes, proper, meticulous, assiduous organization produces a successful election, and that's what we're hoping for, because the future is now. The future is 6 days away, and all hands are on deck to bring about success. People are reaching out to you, Prince Aldu. Otabe Tanko says, thanks so much for your sincere advice. He said, may God bless Nigeria.
Amen.
Then we also have Chigozie from Anambra State. Chigozie says, Prince Mustafa Mona Audu, you are wrong for saying that Nigerians only vote for Big Brother Niger. The reason why many of us do so is that the process is transparent enough and we can see how winners emerge. But that has not been the case in many incidences in past elections in Nigeria.
Chigozie, thank you for reaching out, and I'll explain my position. like I said previously, I've been involved in elections for over 17 years, even though I'm a young person, I'm sure, like him. But if you look at it, in 2007, when we went, I'm from Kogi State, I'll give you the Kogi State example. When we went to the field, they had taken black marker and removed the candidates that they wanted from the elections. So they used black marker to remove them. And while the election material was arriving on the field, they declared PDP winner. We went to court and Kogi State elections was cancelled and redone in 2008. Similar things. Before elections get on the field, you see them on NTA declaring winner. Then in 2011...
Not on NTA, same in broadcast stations.
Broadcast stations. Nothing to do with NTA, but, you know, the powers that be then, you know, PDP, that's the fact.
Things were not transparent.
Absolutely.
Don't know party names.
Yes, okay. Things were not transparent then. But 2011, technology was gradually introduced. By 2015, it was cemented. Yes, we're not perfect. Yes, things are not perfect. But you can see a gradual progression. Now, what is the importance? He said people like us. So Chigozie has certainly voted on Big Brother. But yet, I bet you anything that Chigozie has not voted as many times he has in this electoral process than he has on Big Brother. That's fact. Big Brother has over 900 million votes from Nigerians.
Chigozie, like many youths, even some middle-aged people, have become cynical. But we're calling on them now.
Absolutely. To
forget
get
what
up.
happened in the past.
Yes, absolutely.
Or let's move forward progressively, because 62 years is no joke.
Absolutely.
And we must progress together.
So support who you like. It's very critical. Support. I belong to a political party. I'm not here to try and sell my candidate.
You can't. You will not.
Because this, I guess, is not the position
this is
for
talking
that.
about ease of voting.
But I would encourage you, my brother, whoever you support, go out there and cast your vote. Don't cast your vote and go home. Cast your vote and stay and make sure that your vote is transmitted. We need your vote. Nigeria needs your vote. Nigeria needs your involvement. Nigeria needs all of us. I have my PVC. I've had my PVC for almost 11 years now, 10, 12 years, something like that. Yeah, 2011, I think, was when I got my PVC. So I encourage all Nigerians to do the same thing. Go out, get your PVC, be part of this process. Don't let anyone disenfranchise you. The power is in your thumb. Go and vote for your candidate. Even if your candidate doesn't win, know that those results will be transmitted to the coalition center. And that was the problem before. Before, when you finish voting, they will take it to the local government coalition center, which had results already waiting. They'll get rid of your results.
Yes, progressing now.
Exactly.
We're going digital.
Absolutely. So that eliminates going to those local government coalition centers where all the problems emanated from. So now it's directly transmitted to the state and national coalition centers, which means that you can monitor it.
Be encouraged.
Absolutely.
Be encouraged.
Absolutely.
Prince Audu, man, you've been phenomenal.
Thank you.
In your analysis, in-depth understanding of this process, you know, you've been phenomenal. Please continue to encourage young people, and indeed all Nigerians. And of course, no vote buying, no vote selling. Let us discourage voter apathy. It's unpatriotic. Thank you for being on our show. Spokesperson, Presidential Campaign Council, North Central, and an APC stalwart at that.
Thank you very much.
Well done. You're watching Weekend Deal. We'll take a break. We'll be back. Weekend Deal. It's almost time to wrap it up. I want to take a few of your messages. Well, thank you for sending them. We're getting this from Ibrahim in Abuja. He says the essential staff should be given priority at their polling units when they present their ID card, so that they can vote and return to their duty post. Yes, why not, where possible. Jabs Gashua reaches us from Yobe State. He says the Nigerian Television Authority has played a very wonderful role in the build-up to the forthcoming elections, providing enlightenment, education, and information on so many areas about the elections, about INEC, and especially about the PVC. He said, may God bless all the staff of the Nigerian Television Authority. May God bless Nigeria. Many thanks, Jabs Gashua. This is quite inspirational. Someone says, Mustafa, well done, from This is from Plateau State. It says, my name is Bibi. Prince Mustafa did a great job with enlightenment. Nabala is from Bida. It says, I commend the efforts of the federal government to put an end to vote buying and selling. It says, but the Independent National Electoral Commission should ensure that there's promptness in the distribution of the voting materials, and security should be doubled up so that everyone's safety should be guaranteed. God bless Nigeria. Honorable Titus Mama JP, he didn't tell us where you're reaching us from. It says INEC should be neutral in conducting the elections from start to finish. Success, which is us from Benue State, it says Nigerians should put all the challenges and difficulties aside and come out en masse to vote for the candidates of their choice. He said, in spite of what some of us may be facing at this time, it is our civic duty. We thank you so much. Success from Benue. May I take one more message? This is Wukari from Taraba State. He says he's of the opinion that voters' registration should have been continuous, just like the name implies, and not wrapped up before the elections. He said continuous means just what it says, continuous. It means unending. But Bala Wukari, when we spoke with Festus Okoye, he assured us that as soon as the elections are concluded after March 11th, voters' registration will be continued. But that because they work with data, you know, and they need the accurate number, they could not continue the process because then it may have an impact on the election such that may not be in the best interest for all Nigerians who have registered. We thank you for your messages. We thank you. You have kept them coming, and we appreciate you for that. Benga says, you must take mine. My producer says it's time to wind it up. Benga says, good morning, weekend deal. Nigeria thanks you. Benga is from Kaduna. He said, you have been spreading information and enlightenment for quite a while now, and you are well appreciated, and Nigerians recognize this fact. Thank you, Benga from Kaduna. With that, we must wind up. Thank you for being a part of our package today. Remember, your PVC is potent. It's not an ID card. It's not an ATM card. Be patriotic. Go out there and vote wisely. God bless Nigeria.